Alright. Going live. Because, you know, that's what you do when you're about to debate. Hello. Let me test this. My audio, how does it sound? Let me test this. My audio, how does it sound? Let me test this. My audio, how does it... Well, it's echoing, and that's for certain, but that's probably because I had the stream on. And that's for certain, but yeah, it was. Alright, we're good. Alright, cool.
You can all hear me. I'm just getting things set up. Sorry, Gabe. I was just doing all the plugs. You hear the wick, the clack, clack.
I'm waiting to be brought in, and then I assume that
gotcha.
We will have a debate.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Good to see all of you. So
the debate is over. Compulsory education.
Tonight's supposed to be pretty chill. Yeah. Left this one on. It was me typing. He got me. I was being sneaky. I was being Weasley. So tonight is gonna be relatively chill. I have two conversations that I want to have with people. One second. Let me fix this really quick. My night mode is on, so like it's giving my entire...
The debate, by the way, is with HanzofHarkir. If you want to go check them out, they're on Twitch and YouTube, and Twitter and all that stuff. Their links to Twitch and YouTube are in the description down below.
We're all gonna run around. I have that stuck in my head. It's like this banger from the Digimon movie. Like it's such a fucking banger. Like holy shit! Digimon. I listened to that gym like on repeat at the gym for like. Like it's just so good. It's so good, chat. I love it. I love it so much. All right, there we go. All right. There we go. Fix that. Now it doesn't actually hurt when I look at the screen. Nice. So I got to make sure that I'm healthy tonight, that I'm taking care of myself. So before we start the drinking, I had to finish my protein shake. Yeah.
Nice protein shake. Getting all.
Yeah, I do. Ox.
Getting all proteined up for the debate. Understandable.
Is named Cthulhu. He was a friend.
I'm over here drinking high C and
my
water.
Good friends from high school.
Gotta make sure that I'm hydrated with the best nutritional beverages.
Thanks, Casey. And then my bear back there, his name is Pop. My grandfather passed away about 3 years ago, and the bear, you see, it's wearing jeans and a button up. Those were my grandfather's favorite clothes. They took his jeans. He was a big man. He was like even bigger than me, right? And they took his clothes and they made stuffed bears for all of his grandchildren. And I'm never losing that bear. So.
I imagine we're just waiting a little bit for.
Yeah. So those are my. I don't like
just start up the stream and get the chat going and all that stuff, and then we'll hop into a
hey Kevin
room soon. And
all right, so here's the move, right? Someone wanted to have, they said, a good faith conversation.
So he
into
thinks.
Some more specifics about my position on schooling. So it's going to be very quick, very good faith. I promise. Like,
so
actually promise, quick. not. I'm going to do the good thing and then do the bad thing. I'm going to actually try and respond to this person, and then I'm going to talk to my friend LSP, and then I'm going to play some games with the gang, and I'm going to rate. I bought 6 new types of beer that I've never had before, so I'm going to rate different alcoholic beverages. Did I see this clip? Oh yeah, Melina milking the drama. I saw that. Oh God, stop! No, stop! Oh God, 1 second. Oh Jesus. Oh, Jesus. What are we doing? Oh, no. Oh, shit. It's at 2 times speed, but I can't hear it.
It's been a while since,
Oh, no. It's at 2 times speed, but...
Okay, so you can still... Okay. Yeah, it's... been a while since I've done any debate, so this is certainly going to be interesting. My throat's a little bit sore, so I just wanted to preface that going into this debate, I suppose, that yes, I have a sore throat, so if I sound a little bit weird, there you go.
Yeah, Jeb Kush, this is a chalky protein shake. This isn't sponsored, but I buy these in bulk.
Chalky protein, very nice. It's the like protein I also like to use It's
They're
chocolate.
super small,
Strawberry's
so
not
easy to
bad,
chug.
but if you get vanilla, you're kind of weird.
It's just like, yeah, these are my fave too. I buy them in bulk every time I go grocery shopping. Easiest way to handle your protein requirements is to drink your protein. Literally the easiest. Just a quick, like 1 or 2 protein shakes a day. That's like 60 grams of protein. Yep. Costco. I do a Sam's Club, but Costco, bulk stores, completely vibe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely agree.
I just get one of the tubs.
I used to not see why they dated because this... No, they're... I think Destiny and Melina are cute. I think they have a nice dynamic. Bow, da, da, da. Wait, John, what are you talking about? What I do to who? What I do to who, John? What are you talking about? Oh no! What happened? Wait, what's wrong with Haz? Is Infred okay? What are we talking about?
How does he what?
How do they do it at 5'8"? How do you do it? Do you have to like climb?
Oh, that's me. I'm 5'9". I'm 5'8", 5'9".
What?
I'm 5'9". That's it. I'm only an inch taller than that. You know this.
He's like talking shit directly.
Yeah.
No wonder you don't care for this topic.
It's like an average height. That's not bad.
Why? You look huge, dude.
How does 6'5" do it? That's the better
Hello,
question.
Cracktoon. How's it going? We're just waiting to be
Kisser.
pulled in, and then we will be doing the
She's
debate
got a fucking
stuff.
Stretch her neck looking up to you.
God. Oh, okay. So Haz doesn't know this. All right, because Haz isn't strong enough, right? Because here's the Giga Chad move: if a lady's too short and she can't kiss you, you pick her up and then you kiss her. He doesn't know the strats. He doesn't have the right build for it. He's not wide enough.
Creating fucking Lamarckian inheritance of acquired characteristic giraffe motherfucking creation. You're creating giraffes that have to stretch their necks just to fucking kiss you, dude. Don't talk about my height.
First of all, I get head. I get head.
Haz, how do you
What
lose
the-
an inch every time you say how tall you are?
I've always said 5'9".
Oh
I've
no!
never said 5'10". I've never said 5'11". I always said 5'9".
Oh god, he's
Yeah,
so
but
insecure.
why does God hate you?
Oh my
even if I
God,
was 5'11",
Zerka!
I would say I'm
What?
5'8",
Holy
but it doesn't-
shit! We love our short kings, okay? We love our short kings in chat. Holy shit!
Sorry.
5'9's not that. 5'9's literally like average height.
How tall
I don't
are
know why
you?
you're shitting on this guy.
Your height doesn't change! What
What
do you mean?
Steven
what
Crowder,
ex-
basically, that's what I'm saying,
measurements
Lodge.
are
It's good to see you, Lodge. It's been a while.
I feel like Haz is actually 5'7".
Oh, yo, Loki Hans does kind of sound
way
like
he
Steven
said
Crowder.
that.
I'll bring
Absolutely.
that up. No, I'm not gonna bring that up.
Oh no, poor Haas.
You know,
Sansol says Haas told him he's 5'7" when he first got onto Twitch, so he's gotten collectively taller. He got like the Gattaca surgery where they like break your shins and stretch them so you get 2 inches taller. Oh my god.
he literally does kind of sound like Steven Crowder.
Ugh. Damn. Rello was enjoying my clips. Oh god, John, you were like the biggest shit starter on Twitch. All right, I feel like you just keep throwing clips at people. I see you in like the Destiny subreddit throwing my shit around. Oh my god, buddy.
Lodge, I know you're a big supporter of compulsory education, so this is gonna be an interesting
Let's,
debate for you to watch.
Oh god. Oh, is this the meme? Oh no. Don't worry, Rel, I got your back, buddy. I love you, Irrelevant.
I think you're really trying to be like relatable to the cool people, and it's failing really hard. Just like
Really? Dude, like everyone's having fun. Why are you such an asshole?
Yes.
Like,
Okay. Moving on.
Oh, that sounded so insecure.
What did you say?
Pretty
I didn't even
sad,
hear.
Dude. It was like, dude, look at him.
relatable to the trying to be like
He's like clearing his
relatable.
throat. He's like clearing his throat in the middle of the like. I think you're trying to be relatable?
Is this dude? No, Lord, he's not anti-education. He's pro-compulsory education. I don't really have a strong position on it.
Everyone's having fun.
Yeah, stop. Okay.
I just have a. I have a couple questions.
The only. The only.
Let me write this
Here's the
down.
thing.
I have some potential qualms with compulsory education, especially within like the status quo.
That's how you do it.
I don't think compulsory education I don't think it's an entirely bad idea. It depends on how you do it.
Sorry, not debates. Good faith conversations. Whoa, do.
All right.
Isn't Haz Arabic? I think so.
I believe we're being pulled in.
Or Arab, yeah. List. All right, so here's the beer list for the night. We have a blueberry.
He's
This is in order of
unusually
how I'm gonna
loud.
drink them.
I'm not in
Seltzer,
his Discord yet. I'm just watching his. Well, I'm in the Discord. I'm just waiting to be pulled in. I'm
grapefruit.
watching his stream.
Weizen.
No, this. So yeah, Hanz's position
Hefeweizen.
is for mandatory schooling. I'm not sure exactly what. Like that. Like that's kind of what I'm here to
Then we have the
clear up. Like I'm curious about what exactly form of mandatory schooling Hanz is for, and yeah, based on that we'll see
How the fuck do
where
I
the
spell this?
discussion goes.
Oh.
I suppose.
Let me see. All right. There we go. Sorry about the burp. Oh my god, I drank the protein shake too fast. There we go. So yeah, blueberry seltzer, a German Hefeweizen. It's a grapefruit Hefeweizen, right?
Again, for those of you in the stream, I have a sore throat right now, so my apologies in advance about that.
And I was told to have the pumpkin ale before the dunkel. So this is the list that we're going with tonight. So with all that in mind, I'm gonna bring my first caller in.
All
Their
right.
name is Left Lemon. They want to have a good faith conversation with me about something really quick. Then I'm bringing my friend LSP, and then I'm gonna be just doing some beer tasting and playing games with my friends for the rest of the night. Nothing crazy, nothing insane. Just some games. All right, Leftist Lemon, you are live, buddy. What is up?
Hello,
Feel free to
not
mute yourself
much.
at any time. Hello?
Oh, sorry, what?
Oh, no worries. You're live. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine. Do I sound good?
Yeah, you sound great, actually. Chad, you sound good?
All right. Thank
Also,
you.
what-
Thank you.
Everyone starting the blueberry seltzers. Let's see how this goes. First taste.
So, what'd you hit today at the gym?
Back day. It's deload
Ooh,
week, so
back day.
yep, deload week. So a 5x5 on deadlifts, then 4x12 or a shoulder. Sorry, like a lat pull downs. 4x12 low cable rows. Then some rear delt flies. And then the hammer curls, and then some finishing with some double bicep barbells. Sorry, some bicep curls. So feeling pretty good. Like I said, deload week, so it's lighter than normal. Just keep let my body rest, because last week I was absolutely destroying myself. So let my body rest, so I can start the next stage of my program.
I was about to say, like, what are you doing overall? Are you bulking, or are you cutting, or are you like main gaining, or what are you doing?
I don't really care about my size. Although I eat a lot, so like I'm technically bulking all the time.
Okay.
I'm a powerlifter, so like I'm just doing a strength training set right now. So it started. It's like a 15-week program-ish, like 3 weeks on, 1 week off. For the first 12 weeks, and then I spend like a week like tapering up. And then I get new maxes, and then I do the program again. So I max like 3 or 4 times a year, that kind of thing. So
Okay, nice.
yep,
Right, well-
Yep. All right. So you said you wanted to ask me a couple questions about the school stuff. So what do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, first I have a couple clarification questions.
Yeah, of course.
And then I figured like after I get those clarification questions answered, I just want to hear your case for mandatory schooling, and then I have a potential case against it. But I guess it's going to be depending on how you answer these questions. So yeah, without further ado, I guess just to introduce myself. So I'm a leftist content creator myself. I've been making content online since I was like 14 or 15. I'm only 19 now, so if I do say anything stupid, that explains it.
Flipped and shipped, I got you.
So I'm certain that there's a bunch of things that people can find on my channel that I won't necessarily defend now.
Oh no!
So yeah,
like dude, I started my online stuff when I was 23, and I still said a bunch of dumb shit. Like I hope people don't say, don't worry, it never ends. I promise.
But yeah, so anyways, I'm coming to this conversation entirely in good faith. Like I'm not strongly tied to any position, so I'm entirely open to having my mind changed. So
see if I can pill you on school.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm not even anti. We'll get on that later. But anyways, on to the clarification questions. The first question that I had was, what age do you think mandatory schooling should stop at and start specifically?
I'm not an education like an expert like on child development. So I'm not sure like whether we should start say like at 3 versus 4 versus 5. I know kids who like go to preschool like do better like in school than kids who don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's probably like a solid argument for starting schooling like around like 4 or 5, right? Or at least like preschool like kind of stuff, right? It's like we all have like that like one asshole kid. This was me, like in kindergarten who could like already read and like do numbers and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So I feel like, I feel like probably 4 or 5. It's actually pretty smooth. I like this more than the I did like a blood orange version a while ago. This is pretty good. So starting at 5, and then I'll be completely honest. I don't know where we should stop at. One of my anarchist friends who actually does believe in mandatory school suggested like 5th grade. I think that's too low.
Mm-hmm.
I think because like their critical thinking like parts like haven't super developed. I feel like 5th grade is too young to like to have a grasp of say like civics and critical thinking in a more serious way. So I think whatever age you would get to would have to have some capacity for understanding complex civics and like philosophy because of the rights-based stuff, right? And then critical thinking, and probably I think a lot of people. Literacy. I think literacy rates are currently like decided like on like a 5th grade level. I would love that to be higher. So I think like probably minimum for the end of education. We currently have I think like at 16, right? Where it's like, it depends on what state you're in.
Yeah.
But I think I'd be comfortable saying like maybe 5 to 18 would be say mandatory schooling. Because I think at that point, if we get like all the improvements that I assume like we get some of the improvements that I assume like either of us are for in our education system. I feel like 13, actually that's like more like 14 years of education is enough, right? At that point, if we haven't taught them everything they need to know to be like part of society, at minimum, then we like legitimately have failed them, right? So I think 14 years of mandatory education is probably good. I would love it if we could like have free not just education, but depending on what the society looks like, I would love maybe not a tiered, but a branching upper education at some point if you wanted like trade school stuff, right? You could have say the traditional university, but then also anyone who doesn't go to university, say like it's mandatory 5 through 18, and then after that everyone does something else, right? Like whatever like job you want to do, whether it's say being a plumber or being a carpenter or getting a degree. You have to pick some like higher level of skill or education. I think because I feel like that way people would be a lot happier, and I would say also be able to more like better contribute to society, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'd be comfortable making that mandatory, but I think it should be like highly encouraged and incentivized, right? If we want to say that like we can give people incentives to do that and not punish them. But I think I'd be happy. Again, props Joe Lewis for helping me fix my language. Incentives like and consequences. I think I'd be fine with incentives and consequences for the first like 14 like part years. I think this is me like entirely spitballing. And then having like just incentives for maybe another 4 years of like specific education to help them fulfill their goals, if that makes sense. And then obviously if someone needs like more education, like if our PhD system like sort of survives, I think that'd be fine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yep. Okay, so hope that makes some sort of sense.
Yeah, no, I like that seems entirely like reasonable coming from the position that you are like yeah. Next clarification question that I had was I guess dealing with like your talk about incentives and consequences. What do you think the punishment should be for those whose child fails to attend school and comply with the compulsory education laws?
Absolutely. So I feel like the problem with a lot of like modern truancy, and I think Joe Lewis said this extremely well, is that it punishes like normally poor people of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should change the consequence system to be more in line that it doesn't permanently or more harshly punish people who have less resources, right? Because if I was like a rich motherfucker, I'd probably hate, doing like 5 hours of community service on a Saturday just as much as a poor person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you make it more cross-applicable in terms of the damage to someone accounting for their class and stuff, I feel like that would be more fair. Or if you wanted to do a fine, but based on the parent's income, right? Because say like having a flat $500 fine, that's a fucking load of money to a poor person. But a rich person's like, oh, bitch, I make that in an hour. Like, oh no, my kid missed school. Like, you know what I mean? So I think however you do it, we should focus on making it so that whatever the punishment is, if we want to like make it monetary in this case, or if you want to make it say community service, that it affects people regardless of their stature enough, right? Because again, a consequence isn't it's like, what's the meme? It's like, fines are just laws that don't apply to rich people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I get what you. Yeah, I get exactly.
Yeah. So I would prefer the truancy system to not be biased so heavily against poor people in this case, and that would mean like in this case like people of color, right? So yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's entirely more reasonable.
Yeah. I'm not like fucking $500 if you never go to school, because then at that point like like poor parents are fucked, right? I'm not trying to fuck them. Like most of my conversations have been about like specifically whether mandatory schooling should exist, because I think both I and all the people that I've been debating with agree that we should improve education, but because we agree that we should improve education, we didn't really focus on that so much as whether it should happen or not. But and again, like I'm not the most educated on like on school improvement policy, right? But I can definitely say that there are improvements like the truancy stuff that we could remodel that would be less classist in this case.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think the reason why you and like Demon Mama and like Joe Lewis and them had as much disagreement on this is because y'all probably haven't like delved into the specifics, because what you're saying seems a lot more reasonable than what I imagine they assumed you meant, right?
I actually I don't think so. I don't think that's
think so?
I don't think that's possible, because if you remember about like at the very beginning of my conversation with Demon Mama, I asked her, I was like, if we have a perfect school system, right, with a million different options, so like essentially like everything is covered. Like that means like if you want to do like a homeschool thing, like with a tutor or anything like that, right? A million options of like virtually like every like most based way you could do school, right? Mm-hmm. And she still said no, she didn't want it to be mandatory at that point. And I know we can get to that the thing in a second where I assume we're going to talk about whether or not like a perfect school would be enough of an like an incentive, right? So I would say for that it wouldn't matter what I would say in terms of improving the school, because I gave her the most perfect hypothetical, like like literally like perfect functional education, and she still disagreed. So I think our disagreement wasn't about improving the education system so much that she would be okay with mandatory school. It was that she was inherently against the concept of mandatory schooling in general.
Okay, yeah,
so
that's fair.
So even though we agreed on like improving school, there actually was a legitimate hardline disagreement on whether or not it should be mandatory. And then Joe Lewis and I, again, like we made up, so I'm not gonna like throw him under the bus or anything. Yeah. I think like 90%, like to 99% of our debate was just legitimately semantic. where it was he didn't like the concept of coercion because I was using that because that's an anarchist language, right? He's talking about like coercion, use of force. So that was like my conversation with Demon Mama, and he didn't like that term, so it took a while, but eventually we settled on incentives and consequences, right, for positive and negative things to get people to go inside the school system. So I think he agrees with my mandatory education take. Because here's the thing, right? I think a lot of people can agree on mandatory education, and then we can hedge on how mandatory in the sense of like how long, right? It's like the Supreme. It's like the Supreme Court meme, right? Where it's like without religious exemptions, it's 6 to 16, and then with religious exemptions, it's 6 to 14, right? Yeah. So in that case, I again, like, I'm not educated enough to to have, I think, that discussion about like where's the perfect time and how much we need to mandate school, but I don't think I need to be, because that's not really the conversation I'm having, right? I'm not having a conversation about how long mandatory schooling needs to be with people who agree with me on like the immediate basic premise. I was arguing against people who disagreed with me that school should be mandatory, right? So those are different conversations. And I feel like if I had a conversation with Joe over, like how long they should be mandatory, again, like there could be hedges over, because I think his like system again, right, was like municipality based instead of say state based for truancy systems. And I'm not like, I don't have a strong stance on that one way or another, right? I think there should be like a baseline standard that we can have like across all systems, and then if we want to tailor it to like different like societies, like places, even like not just municipalities, but maybe like specific school districts, right? I think that's like a worthy conversation to be had, but that wasn't the conversation that was going to be had, right? Or at least I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought, like, from the way that we initially interacted, that he had some serious disagreements about the arguments that I was making, but it really just seemed that he disliked some of the verbiage that I was using, and I was frustrated about that, obviously. But at the end, I don't think we really disagreed on that much, or at least like the disagreements that we end up having was because he has a strong stance on how he wants truancy to be enforced. And I have virtually no like existing strong position on it because I haven't done that research yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
related to the punishment, so do you have? I'm assuming in this it's like obviously not a big deal, but do you have like an amount that you think a child is allowed to reasonably miss school before being punished?
Oh, I mean, of course, like everyone has like sick days, right? Like I got sick as a kid, right? Like I don't think that in and of itself is a problem. Again, like I have no like research for this, but I think most school systems currently do, where it's like if you miss more than 10% of the school year, like you would technically like be mandated to fail, right?
Probably something along the lines of that.
Yeah, something along those lines. I'm again like don't quote me on that one, right? But I'm fairly certain that's what the sorry, 1 second. But that's like sort of like in the ballpark, right?
Yeah.
So I think we could make education better and more personalized. Again, this is like, say, this would be another more personalized like improvement to education, right? Where I would say something along the lines of, instead of like, say, putting everyone in a grade year, maybe we would, even in terms of mandatory, right? What if we had a system that allowed people to progress at their own pace, and once they reach a certain level of proficiency, we say you're done inside the system, right? Like if we have like these benchmarks for you to hit, like whether it's like reading, writing, math, and if someone hits that at say like 15 as opposed to 18, then I'd be like, all right, like, you'd be fine, right? If maybe like that'd be it. Yeah, Turk, we're drinking. Our first one of the night is a blueberry hard seltzer from the it just says Florida Seltzer. So, but what's the word? Okay, alcoholic beverages. Okay, I always start with a seltzer. No worries, Turk. So I think that'd be like one of the things we talk about an improved school system, right? Where if we want to change how it, if we even wanted to change the mandatory thing from say like a certain yearly process, right, or a number of years, it would have to be getting to a certain position, right, or getting to a certain like set of skills. Would that make sense? I feel like that might be. I think that probably have to be either or, because if someone was like unable to meet all the requirements, I would probably hate to hold them in school for their entire life, right? Yeah. I don't think that'd be particularly fair. But like maybe we could have like some sort of advanced.
I get what
like,
you're saying entirely.
yeah,
It's like
advanced-
if you hit this like before, so you have like a set age, and it's like if you hit 18, right, then you don't have to go to school anymore. But if you finish like all of these like requirements for your education before then like you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the qualm that I'm going to end up raising might still probably still applies to that, but again, we can get to that later.
Yeah.
I suppose on an implementation level of like this policy that you're talking about, would you prefer it to be federally, or are you fine with it like varying based on state by state?
I would I normally fall back to federally because I believe in a baseline regardless of where you are, right? Because I don't like the idea that every district can do whatever it wants with no restrictions, right? I think that this was the question I asked Joe Lewis during our conversation. I don't think we ever really got to it super hard, but I think he agreed with me that he's okay with the federal thing staying in place, but he wants the municipalities to have more control. And
yeah,
that sounds fine. And I would say again, like, I really don't care whether it's by school district or municipality or by state, as long as there is some federal baseline that everyone hits. Because I think we can all agree that doing it having specific laws based on location is probably more in line with how those people are feeling. But we still have to have, say, certain protections to ensure that, say, rights are being upheld, that people aren't being mistreated, and that things aren't like crazily dystopian, right? I don't want I think Joe Lewis agreed to this, where it's like we don't want any one district saying no truancy laws, right? And then we go back to the non-mandatory school thing, right? There has to be some flavor of incentives and consequences that ensure kids get an education, right? Whether it's like home, or whether it's homeschooling, whether it's like school schooling, whether it's like any number of the million different options, right? That would be I don't particularly care how it's done, but I would say I am in favor of some like a across the board baseline that everyone has to hit. And then after that, I'd leave it up to whoever wants to leave it up to.
Yeah, all right. Cool. Yeah. And then the last clarification question that I have is just related to exemptions, like, exemptions applying to homeschool, private schooling, children with disabilities, children who are employed, religious exemptions. What do you think about those specifically, and how would this policy that you're talking about interact with those?
Oh, sorry. Can you say that again? I just saw something on Twitter.
Just talking about what exemptions are applicable or acceptable under your ideal mandatory schooling policy.
Oh, of course. So obviously being ill, right? Like, you don't want people passing the plague when they go to school. I think that's a pretty fair thing. I would also say that I would be comfortable, and I think some schools are already pioneering this, where it's you're allowed a certain number of mental health days, and the rich kids kind of use it for bullshit, but the younger, oh yes, still compulsory education. Turk, we're just Turk, someone's asking you good faith questions, all right? Just a simple conversation, right? This is actually very nice. I'm really enjoying this talk.
Exemptions.
But yeah, exemptions. So I think giving a certain number of time for mental health days would be absolutely acceptable. Like I said, rich people will just use them for vacations and shit. But maybe a poor person's actually struggling, right? And they're stressed, and they do need a day to decompress. And a lot of people, even people who don't have serious mental illness or actual neurodivergence, need those days. I've had days where I didn't want to go to school, or I was dealing with something, right? I think those are perfectly healthy to have. I think you could have a set number of them, right? And I don't want to, if you consider it a punishment to say hold someone back, right? But I would probably just say, if that person misses school, we would probably request them to take some increased stuff just to get them caught up, right? If you have a severe breakdown and you need to take a month off school, obviously we're not gonna yeet you out of the system for that, right? We'll probably say, all right, take your month, but you're a month behind because you've been working on some stuff. So we'll do whatever we can to get you caught up. And if you can get you caught up in time, then you can either stay with your year group, right, or whatever. Or if we have to maybe pause you for a bit, or just take you out of the process for a tiny bit so we can try and accelerate you to where you can catch up, then that sounds just fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So based on the clarification questions, I would say like if I were to support a mandatory schooling policy, it seems that yours is pretty yours is pretty ideal if I were to support one. I'm not sure about I'm not sure about the cutoff age, obviously, either, or when it should start. I'd be a little bit wary about 18. But yeah,
and that's fine. Like, I'm not like married to that either.
So now that we've gone over like what your ideal policy looks like, so that like all of us know what you're talking about, do you want to like make your case like for why you support that policy?
Absolutely. I'd say I had two primary reasons, but a friend of mine gave me a really good third reason. So the first one, again, I want a person to be equipped for the skills to make a life for themselves in whatever society they find themselves in, right? And for a lot of kids, especially small children, they do not have the capacity to look ahead enough to do things that might be unfun in the short term to benefit massively from the long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am presently unconvinced that we can make school so exciting that people will choose it over all the other forms of entertainment that they could be doing instead, right?
I entirely agree with that point, by the way. My argument isn't contingent on, like, just to prefacing when I make my case, sorry to interrupt you, but my argument isn't going to be contingent on, like, school's so fun that people want to go to it, because I know that's not true, nor is my argument, like, coming from, like, a principled place where, like, corrosion is always bad.
I got you. That's okay. Hey, consequences.
I'm fine with whatever you say, because I get what you're saying.
I'm messing with you, but so that's the first thing, right? I want someone to be equipped, and I don't think kids will make the decision, or sometimes, and if their parents don't make the decision, I want, again, some baseline that ensures that people who are too young to think ahead screw themselves over long term to not be able to, like, fit inside society, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the first one. And like Turk made a good point in chat, and it's sort of tied into the first one, where it's just like education's used to like lift people out of poverty, right? Like the more educated you are, the higher your salary is on average, like the more you make, right? Even like factoring in student loan stuff, like all the people with massive student loans right now are going to be like the top earners, like in the, like once they, even like after they, like even while they're still paying it off, you know what I mean? So it's like for that I mean like the doctors and lawyers. So education's like great for self-betterment and like helping you get through society. And then the second thing is that society, our current society functions based on skilled people, right? We need people who can fix plumbing. We need people who can build things. We need people who can run our computer systems. All these things require a serious amount of technical skill, right?
Yeah.
And without a system that ensures that we have enough people like that, I am completely unconvinced that people will sort themselves into the proper like skill sets to maintain the society, right? Like imagine our society, if we had a society of like 100 people continuously, right? And it keeps like getting replaced by another 100, or every generation has 100 people. And our society has a generation, like our system as a basis has like say 20 tech jobs, 20 farming jobs, 20 like security jobs, and then like 40% like miscellaneous jobs like for academia and stuff, right? And we don't have enough people who are skilled enough to do, like whether it's farming, whether it's like security, whether it's technical stuff, right? At that point, that society would start, if not crumbling, withering in a really bad way, because we don't have enough skilled people to fit our things. This is like part of why America has so many like I think it's like HP1 visas, because we're bringing in skilled immigrant labor because there's not enough Americans like with CS degrees. Like we don't have enough skilled people to fill all these positions, or they're not competitive enough based on like other places around the world. So I think if we don't at least give people the baseline to like get to some of these careers, I don't think people will choose it. I'm quite staunch on that, and I would say a part of that is that to be a computer scientist, right, or to be a physicist, you have to have a serious background in mathematics, right, or like at least like for the physics one, right? I took like one CS course in college, right?
Yeah.
I took up to Calc 2, and I took a couple physics courses as well, in college, and all those required like calculus or above. So so if someone wants to be, say, a physicist, right, but they don't even know what physics is because they don't have a mandatory education, and they're 18 and they don't have like the math skills necessary to make it to even like do physics, then that's a problem for me, right? Because I feel like our system is kind of weird right now, but I think like how the baseline works is good in that it's cross applicable. That maybe you don't have to teach, say, science, but you have to teach like maybe critical thinking, and we can you can branch off into chemistry and biology and stuff like at a later date. And you need, say, mathematics, so that when you branch into physics and engineering and chemistry and stuff, that you have the math background necessary to be able to do those things. Because if someone decides at 18 that they want to be an engineer, and because they have no mandatory education, they won't have the skills necessary, right?
Yeah.
Or at least like the basic building blocks of skills. And I think it's much better just to say, hey, you need these skills, and then we'll give them to you, and then you can decide what to do with them, than letting people choose for themselves what skills they want, especially at such a young age, and then finding out later that what they want to do they are unqualified for, incapable of doing without like much more effort, right? Because it would really suck if I was 18 and I decided to be a chemist, and then I realized that I didn't spend any of my time learning math, so then I have to spend 4 years catching up on math before I could be a chemistry person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, specialization. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So the baseline's important before you get to the specialization. And then the third thing is just this is more for our current system than like maybe the future one. But I think it's completely fair that childcare, right? Like working parents, schools daycare for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's part of helping people who are parents exist in the workforce. Even like, say, an anarchist or socialist society, it lets them leave the home to do what they're supposed to do because their kids are taken care of. And if they're not, we would instead of school, we'd need like a legion of like babysitters. And I think if we have the babysitters, might as well make it educational babysitting. You know what I mean? Like we can do two birds, one stone. I see no reason to say, oh, we have a whole school system that you can do, or you can use our non-educational babysitter system. And it's like, all right, why don't we just make the school good and have it function as both school and babysitting? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, entirely what you said. The reasons seem reasonable to me. One qualm that I would have potentially is the poverty part, because I have seen studies that suggest more recent studies seem to suggest that the effect is negligible, and I think that I'll touch on that a little bit when I lay out my case. But with that being said, are you entirely do you have anything else to substantiate for your reasons for mandatory schooling?
There's two that are more like philosophical rights based.
Okay.
Than like my existing like intuitions. The one is, like I said, it's the I don't believe kids will choose the school, and then the second thing is I don't think coercion is necessarily bad. I think it's just a tool like anything else, and I think unnecessary coercion is bad, right? But I think some things are necessary coercion, in the same way that, say, but I'm in favor of like a vaccine mandate.
Yeah, of course.
So, and I'm okay with coercing people by like either bullying them or like not letting them into certain areas of society until they get vaxxed, like be on planes and stuff, as like a type of coercion. I'm fine with that coercion. And so as long as I feel like in most anarchists, consequences. You're right. I'm fine with consequences. Thank you, Louis. Thank you.
You can call it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be consistent. And so I'm fine with those consequences. And if and I think some are necessary for society to function. I think every person who is serious will say that some coercion is acceptable.
Yeah.
And if someone says that no, and I'm flipping back because like this is like specifically on the topic and premise of coercion. I think anyone who says that coercion is unacceptable in all cases is fundamentally unserious, and they haven't done any like theoretical or philosophical thinking into like what that society would look like.
Exactly. No,
And
I
so
agree.
our conversation would be, and like some anarchists like told me this, like they bit the bullet on this, and they said, yeah, I think we should have as little coercion as possible, but some coercion is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like if coercion is bad, you need to coerce people to stop them from coercing other people. Like that's just logical. Because if, like, for example, if someone is like coercing someone else, the only way to stop that is by using coercion. But
the only way to stop a bad guy with coercion is a good guy with
exactly.
coercion. We got him.
Little did you know, I'm a conservative. But I think we like don't disagree too much, especially with the philosophical arguments that you're raising. Like I don't think that kids voluntarily would choose school either. I think I also agree. Like coercion isn't always bad.
So I think we fixed our so that's like my basic position. So what's your best? Also, Neo, I don't want to do another debate after this. I just want to play League of Legends with my friends and get drunk. Okay.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a study. You might have to accept my friend request to take it.
I see it.
All right, great. Let me know if you can open that, and then I'll lay out my case. I have 3 points, and I'll bring it in with the conclusion. Feel free to interject at any point. But without further ado, I'd just like to clarify before I make this case that I did my research on this specific topic earlier today, so I encourage you to look at this data.
It's 33 pages, so I can't read it all like right now.
No, I get what you're saying, and a lot of it is references. And also, like, I know I'm not qualified to tell you if the methodologies utilized in the studies I refer to are proper. So if you aren't either, entirely understandable.
No problem. Let me just read the abstract for everyone in chat, so like they know what we're talking about. So, the abstract. In this paper, we test whether education has a causal effect on mental health by exploiting a compulsory schooling reform in 1972, which raised the minimum school leaving age from 15 to 16 years old in Great Britain. Using a regression discontinuity design, we provide robust evidence that though the reform increased educational attainment, it also increased the prevalence of depression and other mental health conditions in adulthood. Our results do not imply that more schooling per se leads to poorer mental health, but rather suggest that forcing low-achieving teenagers to remain in an academic environment may have long-term unintended consequences on their mental health. So, what's the position?
So I'll just lay out the case in 3 points and a conclusion. So again, I have this study. It's titled, quote, "Does more education always improve mental health? Evidence from a British compulsory schooling reform." And the study examines the consequence of a 1972 ROSLA compulsory education reform in Britain. ROSLA stands for, I believe, Reform of School Leaving Age. It raised the age from 15 to 16. And the study seemingly indicates that this reform was more likely that people are to stay in school till the mandatory age required. They were more likely to stay in school by 19.2 percentage points. Mandatory schooling seems to have no impact on people's pursuit of higher education, the study found. The increased obtainment of a certificate of secondary education, which is a certificate you obtain on the basis of graduating secondary school.
And that was point number 2, right? So
this is still point 1. I'm just diving more into the percentages. So the attainment of leaving secondary school.
What was the first percentage? What was the first percentage you cited? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So people were more likely to stay in school till the mandatory age was required. The required mandatory age by 19.2%.
Okay.
And people were more likely to get a degree for graduating from high school by 7.9%. But there was no effect on the attainment of a general certificate of education ordinary level, which is a certificate you obtain for the entering of higher education.
Okay, so it got you through high school, but it didn't necessarily mean college.
So yeah, that's point 1, is just that mandatory education seemingly is effective in getting children to stay till that age, but not after, which I would like to cede. That on its own isn't a bad thing, right? In itself. Yep. But point point 2 is going to more so substantiate why that might not necessarily be best. So the study also seems to indicate that as a result of ROSLA, there was an increased probability to report having a mental health condition by 4.9 percentage points and having suffered from depression by 3.7 percentage points.
So wait, what was the first stat? So it
4.9%.
It's an increase in mental health issue?
Yeah, of reporting mental health condition by 4.9%.
All right, so
and depression by 3.7%.
Health issues. And then 3.7% more depression?
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
And a potential counter.
Not awesome, but like just thanks
yeah. Awesome. That's a pro. That's a reason why.
Nailed it.
But you could potentially say that the increased probability to report these mental health issues is a result from educational attainment. However, in this study, it seems that they referred to another study that suggests the UK laws did nothing to significantly improve knowledge on health-related issues. And secondly, the original study that I was referring to utilized data from the 2007 Adult Psychiatric Morbidity Survey to estimate whether educational attainment is associated with the probability of self-reporting a mental health condition. And based on the utilization of the original study that I'm referring to, it said, quote, "We find that while educational attainment is associated with the unconditional probability to report having a mental health condition, there is no positive association between years of education and the probability of reporting having a mental health condition," end quote. Meaning that while it is the case that there is a higher probability to report having a mental health condition with educational attainment, the two variables being mental health conditions and educational attainment do not move in tandem, which would indicate that it can't be the case that these individuals are better able to analyze their own health as a result of the education they acquired. And there are other factors at hand, such as them not liking the schooling environment.
Okay.
Contributing to those mental health conditions. So this to me would mean that not only does compulsory education cause mental health problems, which is on its own.
What was point 3?
Oh no, this is still point 2. This is just the summarization of like the stats that I gave you. So this to me would mean that not only does compulsory education cause mental health problems, which is a problem on its own, it also seemingly undermines itself, because intuitively the people most likely to break compulsory education laws are those that are facing mental health problems, especially if those mental health problems are contributed to by compulsory schooling, and more generally are contributed to by schooling.
Okay.
And then on to point 3 is just simply that you sort of address this. Like, I don't know if point 3 would necessarily apply to the mandatory schooling policy that you're talking about, but to me, at least in the status quo, it seems that compulsory education brings about punishment to those that are already impoverished and facing mental health problems in ways that can only make them worse. Like, giving an impoverished family a fine or jail time doesn't solve their poverty and can only make the mental health problems worse by worsening their family relations. But I don't think that necessarily applies to the policy that you're talking about, because you said that obviously the current punishments you don't support, and that's sort of something that we would have to figure out. So in conclusion, based on these points, to me it would just seem rather counterproductive to implement a program that has negligible effects on the pursuit of higher education that results in the more mental health problems, which again isn't only a problem on its own, but it seems to me a problem for compulsory education as a whole, because those people are the people that are less likely to comply with those laws, which would result in them being punished, which I think it's reasonable to assume would almost certainly make schooling seem like an even more hostile environment for those people, and further contribute to their mental health problems, making this like potentially a reciprocal cycle. Yeah, so that's my case against it.
I got you. Okay, 1 second. I just finished my blueberry seltzer.
I hope it was great, by the way.
I keep trying to find good seltzers. There's this great vegan brewery around my brother's place. He lives back in Indiana, and they had these amazing seltzers. And I've been like sort of like chasing that high ever since. And nothing I've got from the store like is even comparable. It's been really frustrating. Like, this was fine, but if I had to like honestly rate it, I probably wouldn't give it more than like I think it's probably about a 6.5. On a scale of 10. So,
I mean, it is a seltzer, so like Understandable.
They're designed to be inoffensive. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go grab my second beer, and I'll be right back, and then we can dig into this. Okay?
Yeah,
Joe,
of course.
I'm gonna mute you. You seem like a nice guy, but like just making sure that you weren't some
Yeah,
secret.
no,
CIA
I get what
plant.
you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got you. Don't want any aircraft Sparky
Of
energy.
course. Oh God, I was just watching the Dylan Burns hippy dippy roundtable.
No worries. 1 second. All right. See you in a bit, buddy. All right, chat. Here are some tunes while I'm gone.
Well, we're just waiting in the
I'll be
meantime.
right
But
back.
I think the arguments that we're posing here are fairly they're not exactly like I think they're fair arguments raised, and I think that us as having this conversation about mandatory schooling so far with specifically Hans, I think that we've done the best job in actually laying out our arguments and actually justifying them, not on some like weird like principle and then saying, oh, anything that goes out of line with that principle is bad. I think we're more so operating also under the logic of like schooling is good, which it is, don't get me wrong, schooling is good, but more under the logic that compulsory schooling even potentially could be good. But even if compulsory schooling, right, is good, it would seem that it's producing consequences that might, or not like that necessarily that compulsory schooling is good, but we'll say schooling is good. Even if schooling is good, it would seem that compulsory schooling is producing consequences that might make it less likely for people to succeed in school, like such things as mental health problems.
Run around. Boom. All right.
You're getting destroyed.
So,
thank you, Crack. I appreciate
right.
that you said that I'm getting destroyed in the marketplace of ideas.
all right, we're back, and everyone, yes, this is the.
I'm not tied to a position really here, Crack.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Everyone, this is the. Also, you're live again.
All right,
everyone,
good.
this is the Schofferhofer. It's a Hefeweizen grapefruit beer. So, first impression. Let's see how it goes.
Also,
Oh shit, that is delicious. Ooh,
grapefruit? That's interesting.
that's really smooth. There's like barely any carbonation in it. Ooh, that's almost like this is like straight. This is almost like juice. Oh, it's unfiltered Hefeweizen beer with grapefruit juice and natural flavor. Oh yeah, this is good. This is legitimately this is like fizzy juice.
Mind if I ask, are you more so a fan of darker brews or lighter brews?
It really depends.
Okay,
I like
interesting.
both. It really it's like there's shitty light beer, there's shitty heavy beer.
Yeah.
The only thing that I cannot stand is I absolutely hate IPAs. I cannot stand IPAs. My current two favorite drinks are a light bright cider. It's called Golden Apple from Strongbow, and then my other favorite like beer it's a vanilla porter, and porters are normally darker. From Breckenridge Brewery, and it's delicious. So,
all right.
yeah. But anyway, so let's get to these. Like, let's try and talk through some of these points, right?
Okay, yeah. of
And
course.
after this, I will have to. Once we hash out these 3 points, I will have to kick you, but that's because I got other stuff to do. But I really appreciate
Great.
this conversation. This has
It's
been really
entirely
good.
fine.
Yeah. All right, so I think I sort of covered point 3 like in my opener, so I don't think we have to cover.
Yeah,
that again.
yeah. No, that's what I was sort of saying. It's like I feel like
I'm so
that
good
point
at
doesn't
debate. I
apply
didn't even
as
know
much
what you're
to-
gonna say, and I already answered it.
it's already over. It's over. You won.
Hans from the top rope, but from the past. Like okay. So I would probably for point 1. I think that's a very interesting, stat. I would probably like somewhat more information on it because here's like my big question, right?
Yeah.
Is there's a difference between 15 and 16, but I don't know if that like essentially means that tracks all the way to younger ages, right? Like I don't think it's conclusive
I think that our disagreement, I entirely agree, which is why I think that our disagreement might not be so much as with like early age mandatory schooling. I think our disagreement might be more so rooted in when does that age stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
One second. Let me. Someone asked what a Heffenweisen is, and I don't actually know what it is either. So I'm
It's got to be
gonna.
something German, right?
Yeah. Heffenweisen is straw to amber in color and brewed with at least 50% malted wheat. Are you one of those recognizable German beer styles? The German Heffenweisen offers a striking beer experience thanks to the use of distinctive wheat malt, unique yeast, and uncharacteristic appearance. It does look pretty funny. The wheat beer breaks from the German beer mold, showcasing yeast-driven fruit and spice, as well as bearing an eye-catching mystique. It does look unique. Like, this doesn't look like a regular beer. Like, it almost looks like juice. Don't let the cloudy Weizen deter you. This beer is one of the world's most enjoyable styles for beer geeks and neophytes alike. The refreshing qualities of the highly carbonated style have kept it alive for centuries. Try one for yourself. And so the German-style Heffenweisen is straw to amber in color and brewed at least 50% malted wheat. It has the aroma and flavor of a wheat beer. It comes largely from the yeast, and it's decidedly fruity banana and phollinic clove. And I think I can taste some of that. The intensity of these wildly differing flavor qualities varies depending on the brewer, but the two are most commonly balanced. And then it also it says that it's a good carrier for like fruitier flavors, right? So this is the grapefruit version of the beer. So it's like it's a fruity beer, and it's a great base for like fruity other flavors, right? It's like how for porters and for stouts you can put like flavors of like coffee and chocolate in them, and like they taste good because like they're all dark. And this is like light and fruity, so it fits better. So this is pretty nice, yeah. So okay, so back to your point, I think you're right in that. I would like to see more of this, and I can grant you that I don't know when the stopping age is, right? It might be maybe the optimal year is like actually 14, right? Maybe if we lowered the learning age, right, to maybe like the starting point to like 3 or 4, and we can turn out people that are like more ready to participate in society by like 14, 15, 16, then we'd probably be better. I would love to see like some like cross data based on like the levels of depression among kids. And I think the United States would probably be a great like place for this, right? Is you could take like different states and you would see the and then test the mental health of kids in the last year of their mandatory schooling based on state, right? Because the state change, because most states I think they vary between like 15 to 18. So I think that'd be the best possible way to check this, and we could use the religious exemption kids as well. And so we'd have like we'd literally have a range of 14 to 18, and we could see like how mental health changes. So I can understand your confusion, and I don't have enough evidence to like immediately dispute it. So if you want to say that you're okay with education up to like mandatory education up to a certain point, I'm not going to fight you on that. I literally don't have the evidence like to say like what year we should stop at, and I don't think you do either at this point. But I think that's a really cool point that you brought up. And then for the mental health issues, right? I'm not sure where that's coming from, right? I'm not like because if school was like is causing like the sadness, right? I think that's probably an argument for the quote unquote better schools, right? I think this is actually a point where the better schools make sense. And having multiple options for schooling, having the mental health days, having like the different paths of learning, maybe having like more on-site therapists and stuff, right? Because like colleges have, it's really weird, right? Like, because schools have like the guidance counselor, and it's like one therapist for like 500 kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so weird. But imagine if we actually had like psych teams that like existed in earlier education to talk to these kids. And I think that would probably be a lot healthier. Because I remember in college, right? Like if I was having a bad mental health day, there was like a place I could go on campus, and I could talk to a therapist for free, right? I think, or the like literal non-meme safe spaces where you can go in and chill for a bit, right?
Yeah,
I think there are ways that we can change education to mitigate some of these factors, if not all of them. And again, like this is entirely like speculation because I don't have the evidence for this, right? Yeah. I think there are ways that we can mitigate this without necessarily lowering the mandatory age, right? I think there'd be like in terms of like in terms of what I would want to see studied if we're moving forward, I would want to see the effect of like robust mental health and like school options and like attempts to better education, like across the ages, and then also across those ages, see how mental health is affected based on the mandatory age. Because I feel and see if it's consistent, right? Maybe
I think the study actually might, like, obviously you don't have to, like, you can look into it yourself after, but I think it might address it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll read it off stream sometime. Or maybe on stream sometime. So if we can try and address that, that'd be cool. Because I feel like, because I don't know, I feel like maybe 15 is the sweet spot, right? Maybe that's like the year that where school's at its best, right?
Yeah,
or maybe like maybe 17 is like the best year. Because I think like I feel like the most basic thing for as to why, and this is just, I think this is just induction. It's like this is, I think, why like 16 versus 15 gets the kids through school is quite literally because like you put like another year into your education, so you want to finish it, right? It's like sunk cost. Like you're essentially saying like, and at 16 years old, you're better at realizing that, right? Where it's like, oh man, like I was in school for, you know, at this point 10 years, like what's like 2 more gonna kill me, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like if you mandated it to 17, you'd probably see a similar increase in getting through high school. But again, getting yourself through something that's like pretty mandatory, it doesn't mean you want to keep doing it afterwards, right? Because like it's one thing to say, oh, I've been forced to do something and I'm 85% of the way through, might as well finish it out, as opposed to I finished something because it was mandatory, or most of it was mandatory, and then I finished it because I had already sunk so much time. And I think that's different than doing that and then choosing to do it again of your own volition, because college is like optional, right? So I think that's probably a fair thing. I think if you raise mandatory age to like 21, we'd probably see a lot more people going through college as well. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it seems that the study would indicate that too.
Yeah, so I think that's so I think those are like fair criticisms, but I don't think I can agree with you. That seems like from the basis of the study that yes, if you increase the mandatory age specifically from like 15 to 16, mental health issues do increase. And I would say we should engage all of our effort in trying to figure out why and try and solve that before we like lower the mandatory age back down, right? Because I think the benefit of getting through high school is a massive bonus, right? Because I want more kids to like graduate high school. Because if you graduate high school, it means you're more like ready to take on society than if you don't have a high school degree, right? Even like the amount of money you make for like as a high school grad versus like a non-high school grad, like in the existing system, is pretty substantial. Like let me check it real quick. It's like high school grad, high school. One second. High school dropout income average versus high school graduate. Let me just check this really quick. All right, high school graduates earn a national average of $8,000 more compared to high school dropouts. I think that's a serious, especially like when high school especially when like high school like average earnings aren't very high, right? Because we're talking like the difference between say like 24K versus 32K. I think we can both agree like when you're making that little money, every cent counts, and $8,000 is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's probably worth it. So I would say the answer isn't lowering the school age like to get the health benefits back or the mental health benefits back. I would say it's try and do everything we can to solve the mental health like issues that are arising from school. And if you disagree, that's totally fine. That's a totally like acceptable position because again, like there's not enough evidence as to like whether these are fixable or not, right?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is like what you're saying is like I think it's a good point. I didn't even think about it. It's like it could entirely be that the case that the mental health problems are arise because of the way that schooling is done in the status quo. But then again, we don't really have that information. So it might just be the fact that they're being forced to go to school that is causing this depression. But I think you do raise a good point, is that might not be the case. It just might be the way that schooling is that is causing those issues.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. So, yeah, I really appreciate, dude, like I legitimately, like, thank God this was actually fun. I got to talk about like the real stuff. It wasn't like semantics based. It wasn't like me arguing whether like it should exist at all. Like, I think these are super cool conversations. Yeah. Hey, actually, what are you doing Sunday?
What am I doing Sunday? Oh man, it would depend on the time. Or around what time are you thinking?
I'm hosting my my small streamers panel or small creators panel on Sunday. I don't know how big you are. Maybe you're gigantic, and I don't
am
know.
not. I only have 424 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, then you fit the bill. From 4 to 6, I'm hosting a small streamers panel, and it's all about education issues. Would you like to be on it?
If I can't, I'll try.
You don't have to give me a yes right now. You can check with your schedule and stuff and get back to me.
Okay,
it's Sunday from 4 to 6.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you for inviting me. Regardless of if I end up showing up or not, thank you. I'll try my best if I can fit it in the schedule. But even if I can't, I am more than willing to in the future.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate it. And shout yourself out and link your thing in chat before you go.
Okay, sounds good. Hold on, let me pull up my YouTube. So, I'm the Leftist Lemon. I haven't done debates in a while. I have been doing mostly shitpost, but I'm a leftist content creator, and there's my YouTube right there in chat. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having a discussion with me, and I'm glad we talked about it.
Thanks for being the most good faith discussion I've had on this. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Legitimately.
Have a good rest of your day, man.
You as well, buddy.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
We'll just hear our finishing thoughts.
Neo and Turk, I'll bring you in for a second, but I just want to play fucking League of Legends, okay? Give me a second.
We'll just listen. I'll look at chat.
Turk,
Congrats.
Neo,
Thank you,
I don't
Palm.
wanna stay here for
No
super
comment
long,
chat.
alright?
Love seeing you in the stream.
the thing?
Thank you for
Also,
coming
one
through.
second,
Let me give you mod.
It's
There we go. So anyways, yeah, it's not like I'm against compulsory education. I just have a couple questions, and I think that compulsory education would be good, definitely for early ages. It's just I'm not sure where we should cut it off at, and it seems like if it is contributing to mental health problems in the later ages, it might be a better idea to cut it off earlier.
And she's gone, chat. Where'd she go? Where'd she go?
Alright, I don't think
I can have fun with my bro Hanz.
Yeah, what's that? Let me bring her back. All right, I'm sorry, Neo. That was a joke. But Neo, I'm really.
I don't think they're talking about it. But anyways, yeah, we're back. We did a debate, and it was nice. Anyways, I'll catch y'all in the stream later. Thank you for coming and watching. If you did, again, sorry, I have a sore throat. So yeah, and the links to Hans, Twitch, and YouTube are down below if you want to check out Hans. Hans is a good guy, lefty Twitch streamer.